I remember the moment I found myself on the verge of mental and physical collapse. My name is Sarah, and this is my story of responsibility for hashtag SpiritCore. I've always been a responsible person, as an educator, a friend, and a caregiver. I am the oldest of eight, and I always put the needs of others first. This is a major part of who I am, and much of my happiness and self worth comes from helping others. But it wasn't until a beautiful day last spring that I realized how much this can hurt me as well. It was April 15th, a month into the COVID-19 lockdown, and I was overwhelmed. As an educator in my first adult job, I worked one on one with students whose families have recently immigrated to the US. I was the person my students turned to when they were having difficulties in class, when they needed to check in about life, or just wanted more information about an opportunity in our community. The lockdown was really hard on them, and they needed my help. But establishing the intimate, personal connection I needed to do my job well was extremely challenging to do through the computer. I was also helping my mom homeschool four of my siblings, which included a freshman in high school, a sixth grader, a fourth grader, and a second grader, each with very different needs. On top of all of this, my dad was stuck in Kenya due to COVID-19, and I had to take on many of his responsibilities. This included paying the bills, picking up and dropping off family members, and making sure everything was functioning properly at home. The stress and anxiety of trying to meet all these responsibilities had been building up for weeks. And finally that evening around 7:30, I crashed. My fingers were tingly, I was sweating, my body was trembling, my heart was pounding, and it was becoming harder and harder to breathe. I was caught off guard and I was scared. I needed help, but how? And from who? I'd always been the person who had it together. I helped others, not the other way around, right? But my body was telling me otherwise. So I did one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I got my phone and I wrote a text to my close friend Patrick, sharing the chaos and the feelings I was engulfed in. It took me another hour to hit the send button. I never felt so vulnerable. I was terrified. Patrick responded in less than 10 minutes. In my heart, I knew he would. But until I heard his voice, I didn't completely trust it. He deeply listened to everything I had to say. We spoke for 2 hours that night. I never thought in sharing all of the things that were weighing on my shoulders, I would feel so much lighter. But I did. And I knew that I needed more of that in my life. That night, I learned that in order for me to be my best self, I needed to be responsible for my own health and well being. Sometimes that means allowing friends and family to help me and trusting that they will. I am so happy and proud of myself for sending that text. It's okay to seek help, to be vulnerable, to need someone else. All these things are what make us humans, and it's what allow us to be more connected, to feel safe, and to know that we belong. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you will share your story of responsibility at Spirit Serious USA and join the hashtag SpiritCore conversation. Together, we grow.